Hello guys, this is Astro Park. Welcome to the Roundtable DAO TV show. Today we are with Ashton from Crypto Fight Club and Jay. Hi Jay, how are you doing?
Hi everyone. Welcome to the Roundtable DAO TV show. Today we'll be having a conversation with Crypto Fight Club. Crypto Fight Club is a new type of play to earn which innovates with NFT-enabled games where players can stake and battle opposing fighters and even compete in championships. Very similar to 90s games like Pokemon or Final Fantasy even. Today we will talk with Ashton. He's project lead for this new and wonderful game. He will give us all the info we need and maybe, who knows, a few insiders that we can buy down and get us into the Crypto Fight Club mood. Now, before we start, I'd like to remind everyone that these shows and interviews are possible with support from viewers like you. So please just take a few seconds to follow our channel, hit a little like on this video. A few minutes goes a long way, and it will help us bring more valuable content and projects to your screen. Ashton, welcome to the show. Very glad to have you here. Let's start this, shall we?
Let's do it. Thanks for having me.
Great. Where did the Crypto Fight Club idea come from originally? Can you give us a brief introduction? Tell us some history.
Yeah, so in Bangkok, Thailand, I train at this fighting gym called Elite Fight Club. And Elite Fight Club is owned by Cedric, who is the co-founder of Crypto Fight Club as well. And he calls me up one day, and he knew that I worked in crypto, and he asked me what I knew about NFTs. So instead of just having a short conversation, I decided to set up a meeting with him and my partner Felix. And as we're sitting down, he tells us he wants to have a little bit of context before that. So he's got a background in art. He has an art degree from France. And he wanted to create NFTs that are similar to the CryptoPunks, but with famous fighters. And we're sitting there thinking that ship has sailed. We probably are not going to be able to run this. And instead, we've got a partnership with GameStarter through Felix and I's marketing company. And we decided to leverage that. We were talking to Andrew and the team, and within 10 minutes of us talking about, making CryptoPunk style fighters into like some kind of playable game similar to, like you mentioned, Pokemon or Final Fantasy, hey, let's roll the punches and create an actual game out of this. So within 7 days, we came up with the idea, the product, and over that time, from those first 7 days until now, a lot of things evolved, but we've stood with the original ideology, especially when it comes to the staking and gameplay.
Okay, that's interesting.
Thank you. Well, another question. Your product line includes staking, transparency index, games, and merch. What do you think is the most important aspects for the public to know here? Can you give a brief overview?
The play to earn and staking are definitely the most important. My personal favorite is the staking. It's inspired by, I'm not going to name any names, but it's inspired by the world's best performing liquid asset in crypto. And basically how the staking works is, you have a minting mechanism and a burning mechanism together. You're creating a blockchain certificate of deposit by, when people stake, they actually burn tokens, and then over time, they will mint new tokens towards the end of their stake. And then similar to a savings account, if you were to, say, hold $1 million for a year, your wealth manager is going to give you, a prospective APY. And then if you break that contract over the year, then you're going to get penalized. The same applies to us, except we're dealing with cryptocurrency, magic internet money, right? So we've seen high APYs generated just from these really, really cool ideas, but not a lot of them are sustainable. So once you come up with a fixed inflation with like high incentivizing rewards, this can actually be something of value to anybody that's trying to get involved. Myself being from Southeast Asia over the last 3 years, play to earn is extremely popular, especially places in Philippines, Vietnam, even Bangladesh and other Asian countries. So with play to earn, a lot of people are making anywhere between 3 to 4 times their minimum wage. And especially with the pandemic hitting, a lot of people have lost their jobs. So you have games coming out like Axie Infinity, where people have multiple revenue streams to make money and put food on their family's table. You have breeding to where people can just breed and flip Axies, like what people do with puppies around the world. And then also you have their PvP function where you can battle it out, grow your axes, and later on just earn the SLP token in return. So I wanted to create like a 3-layer play to earn model when it comes down to it. Something short and quick, like mini games where people can play for 45 seconds to a minute, earn some tokens. The PvP side, which is a little bit more extensive, where you're able to battle players and earn tokens that way through like the Pokemon style gameplay, and then also a player versus environment mode where it's ultimately similar to sandbox game, where you have these 3D voxel characters and you're able to free roam and complete different tasks and objectives to earn their native token. We'll be doing the same thing in our own little mini metaverses, which are just replicated real life gyms from some of the partners that we have. So it's the most important things are definitely the gaming and staking aspect, because that's where people will be able to make money, and that's clearly in crypto what most people care about.
Yeah, the biggest essence of the game. That's very interesting, actually. How's the Crypto Fight Club development going? Can you describe current development status, market expansion plans, expected applications, partnerships? What awaits us in the future of Crypto Fight Club?
Yeah, so everything is going extremely well. According to our roadmap, we've pretty much dominated all of Q4 within like the first month. And that just goes to a special shout out to everybody on the team: Felix, Alan, George, Zach, Lenka, all these guys just have been absolutely killing it on the front end. And so for the staking, December 17th is the day that we launch our IDO. We're also going to be releasing our staking mechanism, which will be available to anybody that purchases an NFT. And the NFTs, we're still thinking about the release date, because we have to design these 3D boxes because we're releasing them in mystery packs, right? So when you design 100 different 3D pixel style NFTs, or just these fighters in general, the design part is what takes the longest. And then the minting contract, that'll take 10 minutes to make. So right now, IDO is on the 17th. We might do the NFT drop on December 25th for all the people who celebrate Christmas. And aside from that, the gameplay development is going extremely well. We're going to have the first mini games by the very beginning of Q1, and we might release, 2 or 3 mini games up until the launch of the main game, the PvP aspect of the game. And then in terms of partnerships, we've got a couple people from One Championship. It's like the second biggest fighting championship aside from UFC, maybe aside from like Glory. So we've got people like Muay Thai legends like Trainer Gay in Thailand, Sain Chai. Later on, we just attended the World Boxing Championship out in Bangkok. We were one of the lead partners there. So we had different teams ranging from Belarus, Ukraine, all the way to the United States and Canada. And what we're doing there is, pretty much trying to build up a lot of these different fighters and bring them onto the team in which they can make a feature inside the video game. And in return, they use our merchandise. They promote us on any of their team channels, their personal social media channels, and whatnot. And the other part, the transparency index, I hope that's released, within a couple weeks of the staking going live, because that's going to help a lot of people figure out how much they want to stake, how long they want to stake, when they want to stake. And it'll also help a lot of these guys that do technical analysis and trading figure out when they want to make their next plays, because they're going to have an array of information ranging from how many tokens are locked inside NFTs, how much is taken out of the circulating supply, when is the next unlock, how many stakes are going to be ending by an estimated time.
Wow.
There's a lot of good data there for pretty much anybody participating in the staking pool or just trading fight in general.
Trader's dream right there.
Helps a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, we have also another question. We would like to know if you've completed any security audits. What measures have been taken to protect the Crypto Fight Club community from it?
So we just finalized the audit with Hacken. For those who don't know, Hacken is one of the bigger contract auditors. They've got a pretty good track record for, penetration testing and just checking all of the source code and smart contracts that most big projects are releasing. So the contracts that we had audited were the actual token contract, which is related to mostly the inflation, the annual inflation that we have. the NFT contract for minting out the new batch of NFTs, the staking contract, and the vesting schedule. That way that nobody is able to manipulate the vesting schedule and get their tokens earlier. Nobody is able to, tap in and find any inflation bugs to ultimately, inflate more than what is supposed to be inflated. And to prevent a lot of that, we're going to be using multi-sig technology to where only 3 people are able to batch mint tokens. And then later we're going to have this automated as the contract develops. And then for the NFTs, so NFTs are fairly straightforward. Whenever somebody wants to acquire one, they have to burn 2,000 fight tokens in the first batch. And in this case, it just needed to be built out to make sure that all of the fight tokens sent to the smart contract address get sent over to the black smart contract address, which is the 0x000 address. And the API call reverts that back to the user's wallet and is like, hey, you just earned a mystery pack. And then as they get this mystery pack of a fighter, they get taken to their fighter profile page, and then that's where they'll see their fighter.
Okay, that's great. Astro, I think we could start with live questions from the public.
Yeah. We already have a lot, so I just remember to every viewers to fill the form also. So follow our socials, the Crypto Fight Club socials, and fill your questions. So in order to receive the prize. Okay, just
the first is very important.
Yeah, guys. So can you tell us more about your upcoming features roadmap, and do you already have some contracts signed? So partnership is also asking for partnership with the real life gyms and/or fighters. Nice question.
Yeah, so I mentioned that we have Sain Chai. We've got 3 people from 1FC, Antoine Pinto, Leo Pinto, and a recent welterweight world champion, Superban. We have Trainer Gay, and we just got I can't remember her name because this is very recent, a gold medalist from the World Boxing Championship. She's an absolute unit of a fighter. And then I believe yesterday was the last day, so at this time we're just compiling a lot of the list of the conversations we had and just discussing future partnerships. Elite Fight Club was the first gym partnership that we had. They're a very notable fight club inside Bangkok, Thailand. They are most proficient in Muay Thai and MMA. And then the second partnership that we have is The Ring. They are the largest fighting gym in Singapore. And I mean, they're the home of many world championship fighters. And everybody that visits Singapore that takes fighting seriously will attend this gym. Nice. That is it so far, aside from the World Boxing Championship, like I mentioned. There's a couple other things in place in terms of partnerships, but in order to onboard different people from, say, like the UFC, right? This is where it gets a bit tricky because, instead of forking over $7 million like FTX did to Tom Brady, it's not sustainable. We're not looking to pay these guys for an Instagram post or a Facebook post. So in this case, we're going to be building out our own internal marketplace to where people are able to buy, sell, and transact the NFT fighters and the NFT wearables. Now, whenever we partner with a lot of these different fighters, what will happen is we're going to offer them royalties. So, maybe they'll have a one-of-one NFT that the more they promote, the more value that it might bring. However, or they might already, we could have like a pre-existing inspired NFT fighter, and then we just make some changes to the meta description, and then boom, there's your fighter. That way that there's already a supply. I would prefer to take the one-off solution to make their own NFT unique to whether they want to sell it themselves or if they just keep it to stake and or even play the game. But we'll be building out a marketplace in Q2 of next year, and ultimately that'll just help a lot of the partnerships take place to where a lot of these guys can just earn residual income. And then also, they'll probably end up taking a flat fee because at the end of the day, it's business, right?
Yeah.
So that's what we're kind of working on at this point. The marketplace will be a huge hit. We hope to have some bigger name brands by the time that happens. My biggest priority at the moment is partnering up with other gyms because we want to rebuild their gyms into our game. So like 3D pixelating a lot of these gyms to where players can free roam, do a bunch of objectives, and then later mint them as gyms to where whenever people participate in them and participate in these awards, the NFT holder of the gym actually accrues some kind of revenue of the tokens spent within the inside inside mechanism of the game.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Question: how do the fights work? How do you find an opponent? How long are the fights?
So in the PvP mechanism, there's a matchmaking system, right? So based on everybody's win-loss ratio, that's how it's going to be calculated. The idea was inspired by Call of Duty's tier. They have a bronze tier, silver, gold, diamond, double diamond, platinum tier. And those are all pretty much based off of kill-death ratios and win-loss ratios of different Warzone matches. So in this case, what we're going to do is have this matchmaking system, whereas you have 20 to 30 seconds to find an opponent. Say if somebody else is online while you're online that matches up to the criteria, you will fight that next person. Now, if you don't find anybody within 20, 30 minutes, then you'll be automatically redirected to an AI or like an NPC that you will fight against, and then that will still count against your record, whether you win, lose.
And what happens when my fighter, for example, loses the fight? Do I lose any fight tokens or attributes? So what? And if I win, what do I win?
So in the PvP mode, you have two options.
Yeah.
So we're going to build out this escrow system inside to where players can deposit fight tokens or even NFTs, and then the other player has to deposit fight tokens or NFTs or even game coins. At the end of the day, we're a game server originally, right?
Yeah.
Now, this is totally optional. Now, if, like, say you and I were fighting, right, and I deposit 100 fight, and then within that 20 seconds of the game about to start, you don't deposit anything, it's voided out, it's canceled.
Okay.
So even if I lose, you don't earn any tokens. Now, it's mostly built for building out reputation and everything, but that option is there. And then later on, like having the PvE side, players can do an array of different objectives and tasks to earn tokens, and same in the mini games. The most lucrative option for many players will be in the mini game section and the player versus environment game.
Okay. Do you about the fight tokens? Like how are holders going to be rewarded? And most importantly, what about long-term benefits? Like what's the ideal thing to hold the token basically or stake it?
The main idea is with staking. So I don't know how much time I have for this question, but I could go on and on for this one. So
no, you already talked about staking. Yeah, you can say something more, of course.
Yeah, so think about like having a savings account, right? And you know, like the example I mentioned, you have $1 million, you lock it up for a year, and if you wanted to pull it out 6 months later, the bank is going to penalize you, and they're going to take some of that interest you had accrued. Just because you're 50% into that time deposit does not mean you're going to get 50% of that interest. So what we're doing, because we're able to like lock tokens inside of NFTs that stay in your wallet, you can transfer that NFT to somebody else with that underlying principle to somebody else without having to end your stake, be penalized, and go straight to PancakeSwap. In this case, you can make the same amount of cash. Let's say you have 1 million fight tokens that are $1 each, and you know you're 60% or 50% into your staking model or your staking, and say you've accrued 50,000 tokens so far. If you end your stake, you're only going to get 25,000 of those tokens. The remaining 25,000 that are the 50,000 are still minted. They're going to be sent to the rest of the people playing their part in the staking pool. So instead of you ending this and then losing a bunch of interest that you'd waited 6 months, I can send either of you guys my NFT and charge you 1,050,000 tokens for it, plus the price of NFT, whatever that may be. So it's a transferable certificate of deposit via NFTs. My biggest thing on it is it's fully decentralized. I solemnly believe in the tagline, not your keys, not your coins. We've seen hacks that happen every single day in crypto. The most recent big one being Bitmarch, where they lost, $150 million, $200 million. Like, this is what you get. I don't feel any remorse for people holding a bunch of money on exchanges, because that is the risk that they are dealt with.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's true.
Yeah, you're holding your keys and your coins on a centralized counterparty. And in other words, it's a Ponzi. These centralized yield providers, they're Ponzi's. You are giving your money to somebody else and promise that they're going to give you a return. Doesn't matter if it's real money or if it's their crypto magic internet money. Like, put the keys back into people's hands, and in the long term, that's what's going to let you either both stand out and also survive in any kind of market condition.
Amen to that.
And yeah, like the staking it's designed to be similar to what I mentioned, the highest appreciating asset. It's not, the code isn't as mathematically adequate as theirs. We've simplified it in terms, but then we also just made it transferable. And if you kind of scope the chat for those that are watching, you'll be able to figure out what currency I'm talking about. Super controversial. But it did it. It went up 1,000,000% in less than 2 years, liquid. So that's kind of that's the ideology behind it. It's designed to be lucrative for anybody participating. And then we also added some cool in-game dynamics to it. So if you stake fight for a minimum of 1 year, your fighter's stats, your attack, defense, and technique grow 20% as well. And then this stacks until your fighter grows max stats, which is typically around...
advantage. Your fighter gets better, you get more coins, you stake more, etc., etc. It just keeps going. Very interesting.
And
One more thing.
Yeah.
One more thing.
Yeah.
So staking is also divided into two sections. So you have a 1% annual inflation, which is 10 million coins, and that's divided by 70% and 30%. If you just have the native fight token and you stake that into your NFT, you'd belong in that 30% pool. So your APY is still pretty high, but you're earning into a pool of 3 million tokens throughout the course of a year. Now, if you provide liquidity on PancakeSwap and get the LP token in return, you can stake that inside your NFT and play a role in the remaining 70%, the 7 million token pool, giving you a higher APY. So not only do you earn based on, PancakeSwap's liquidity providing mechanism where you earn like BUSD, BNB, whatever the most powerful pair is, you're also earning more fight tokens in the inflation pool through staking the LP token.
Wow, okay.
There you go.
Level one.
That was the last part.
Another question I can see from the deck, you are going to launch on Binance Smart Chain. So are you going also to move to other blockchains or just stay on this?
So if you see in the very first part of the deck,
Yeah,
you'll see a logo, a Pulse Chain logo.
Yeah, I saw also on the website, in the home here, you have also Pulse Chain. Yeah.
Right. So I want to bridge over to Pulse Chain when that launches. It's supposed to be the next Ethereum 2.0. The guy Richard Hart that's creating it, he already created a cryptocurrency called Hex that did extremely well. And with Pulse Chain, it's got, from what I've seen, the largest, most active community of intellects. Like a lot of these NFT communities are full of degens and absolute ape of human beings that just like they want to get on the next wave, but they're not very knowledgeable in crypto or within the financial system in general. So Pulse Chain, I wake up, there's like 10,000 new messages in their chats every day. And what this is supposed to do is, it's supposed to be Ethereum 2.0 or 3.0 or whatever you want to call it. A lot of, other ones like Solana, cool. They've already went down twice because they couldn't keep up with the throughput or the amount of transactions. You have Polygon, which is subject to, there's middlemen, they have admin keys. So the guys at Polygon could ultimately hold all of your funds, freeze the funds, or even pull the rug out. Would they do it? Probably not, but there's that risk that you're taking. Binance Smart Chain, they do hold private keys to the bridges, and they're subject to 2-layer attacks versus Ethereum or Polygon that's only subject to a single-layer attack. Pulse Chain aims to just solve all of these issues. No counterparty risk, no middlemen, no admin keys. And it's looking really, really good so far. The testnet, I think the testnet v2 released, even though that doesn't really say much until the mainnet's released. I'm personally very excited for it. The rest of the team's excited for it. And, it's worth a shot. We want to be one of the first supporters there. And then also tap into that community of intellects that actually truly understand the true natures of crypto and decentralization. So yeah, Pulse Chain for the win, man.
Very important.
Nice.
I'll be certainly looking into this Pulse Chain for sure. Do we have the chance to customize our fighters? And is the game going to be launched on mobile devices as well?
So you can customize your fighters with the BEP 1155 NFT. So we'll be releasing out different gloves, belts, shoes, anything that will actually enhance your fighter in terms of statistical value. And then we'll also be releasing out like holiday skins. So Valentine's Day, Halloween, even Christmas, When these are released, we're going to host a bid to earn auction with gbm.auction. And what these guys do is they set up this auction house where, you can use your native currency fight or you can use anything else, but anybody who participates in these auction houses earns. So, for example, Jay, if a new pair of boxing gloves come out and you're like, I want to get my hands on those. So you bid 100 fight and I bid 150 fight. And then you outbid me by 200 fight and you end up winning the gloves. I earn 10% of my bid. So I get my 150 fight back, and then I also earn an additional 15 fight just for participating in that one auction. And this goes with anybody that's going to be participating in there, and that just comes from the pool of the winning fights. So, ultimately the auction house, us, would be taking the 200 fight and then be paying that out to everybody who participated in these auctions. And of course, that would be limited to where, maybe the top 10 people that auctioned until that 200 fight is spent back to the participants' hands. We'll be customizing fighters. So all it really takes is just a change in the metadata of the NFT itself. It just depends on who wants to buy what skin. We'll have different skins aside from just holiday style ones, but everything from the skins to the equipables will be on the BEP 1155 standard, and they will all be able to be equipped into the BEP 721 NFT itself.
That's amazing.
Yeah. One last question. Will there be any special rounds for the most successful players or more fight holders, maybe?
What do you mean?
Yeah, it's asking about how the platform will work. So it's talking about some kind of championship. There will be some kind of championship. So the rounds from most successful players or fight holders, fight token holders.
Will you have maybe some special events where all the best players can fight together?
Absolutely. So we're going to be hosting tournaments. And part of this idea was derived from Axie Infinity's scholarships. We could also, if I held 3 NFTs, I could ultimately put somebody else on a scholarship, but we just don't want to copy and paste somebody else's idea. So we're going to have, again, a more decentralized approach. And we'll be hosting these tournaments where people, you can enter and you can pay a certain amount of fight tokens, you can enter the tournament. And also people who are spectating can pay like an admission ticket to where they can spectate. And all of the funds that come from the admissions go to the championship fighters at the end of the actual tournament. So it'll move just like in any ranking system. Maybe we'll have 10, 20, 30, 50 fighters, and they'll all be matched out in brackets. And whoever moves to the top to the championship fight is going to take a majority of the winnings that we supply as an adoption incentive. And then also from the admission tickets that we had sold, and also the participation tickets that have been sold. So players who make their way to the top of the tournament not only earn tokens, we might also issue out special edition NFT belts to where they can also equip and make their fighter a bit more powerful. And another thing is, like I mentioned with the scholarship and our view on this, so in sports in general, everybody has sponsors, whether they put merchandise or they put money behind these fighters. So Jay, let's say you're going into the tournament and I'm like, yo, man, I really believe in your skills. You are an extremely good player at this game. I'm going to put 100,000 fight behind you because I think that you're going to win this. And if you lose, then, I ended up taking a portion of it back and you still get to keep a percentage of it. Just depends on what your win-loss ratio is within this aspect. And then later on, as the game develops, there's more players that hold these NFTs. We're going to be hosting the Ultimate Crypto Fighting Championship, which will be a category of the best fighters with the best win-loss ratios, and individually they'll be reached out to, or they can apply themselves, and they'll be able to participate in this event that will be, they'll be able to earn buku tokens just based on their participation. Even if they lose, they'll still earn a lot of tokens because at the end of the day, it's the Crypto World Boxing Championship.
Yeah.
Amazing. honestly, a lot of very interesting aspects that we talked about today. I think this game is going to be quite a bit of fun to play and participate in. I was wondering if you had any final words, maybe before we leave each other, for the public, something that maybe we didn't talk about or ask you that you really want people to know.
First rule, Crypto Fight Club. Always talk about Crypto Fight Club. Leave it at that. IDO,
Perfect.
Number 17th.
Yeah, on the 17th.
Awesome.
Okay.
I love that. All right. So Ashton, thank you so much for being with us today. You were very generous with your time and your answers. I think people that didn't know about your game are going to be very interested in following you from here. Again, amazing to have you on the show, and let's hope to do this again, maybe with some updates if you're willing to do it.
Absolutely. Anytime.
Perfect.
Awesome.
So thanks everybody for watching. Have a great time. Again, follow Roundtable DAO, please. It helps us a lot. Also, please follow Crypto Fight Club. They've given us a lot of time today, and I think they're definitely worth a follow as well. Thank you very much.
Awesome. Thanks, Jay. Thanks, Astro.
Thank you, guys. Bye. Have a nice Sunday and a new week. Bye.
Yes.